Down in the Rebel County, Mr. Damien Delaney. Damien, thanks for joining us, pal.
Keith, how are you?
I'm very well, Look, before we get on to League of Ireland, Cork, yourself, talk to us a little bit. I don't know whether you've seen the Liverpool game last night, but just in general, Virgil van Dijk and the difference he has made to that back four and the comfort and the kind of responsibility he's shown. How impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. When you look at the job he's been asked to do, because Liverpool don't particularly play with an out-and-out number 4 sitting midfield player, that sits and protects. So centre-backs in that Liverpool team have often been left isolated 1v1 or 2v2. So you have to be a very, very, very good defender to deal with that, and you have to be quick and mobile. And obviously he ticks all those boxes, so he's been fantastic.
Do you like Joe Gomez? I'm a massive fan of his. I loved last year. I was looking at him playing right back and I was thinking, give him the crack of the whip inside. Come on, we were seeing Matip playing there, we were seeing Lovren. I just love the way Gomez goes about his business. At times it just looks so easy for him, doesn't it?
Yeah, you need to be so mobile nowadays to play in the modern game, because most managers don't want full-backs pushing, not even just up the pitch, they want to play wingers. If the right full-back crossing, they want the left full-back coming in the back post now. So that can leave yourself very, very, very open on the counter-attack. A lot of teams do play with 2 number 4s, like Spurs, with Dembele or Wanyama or Dyer, whoever it is. Liverpool play with Henderson, who tends to roam and go and get involved as well. So on the turnover, you have to be very, very mobile, because you might end up in areas where you don't really want to be. And the two of them are very, very good defenders, 1v1, and are quite capable and quite confident of dealing with that.
That's quite interesting that you mentioned the kind of trend in playing 2 number 4s, Damien. Do you think that there's kind of a lack of trust in the good old centre half to look after the business themselves? They have to play 2 men in front of them?
The game's changing so much now that centre half that just kind of fill the middle of goal and be strong and headed away is gone, because football now is all about attacking and getting forward and getting crosses in the box, and we worry about the other side at the end of it. And I think Klopp found that in the Premier League, because teams can counter-attack so quickly in the Premier League. That he didn't want 2 number 4s, because then he was short a couple of players attacking wise, so he just decided to go the other way and get 2 centre halves that can deal with 1v1, or if they do get broke on 3v2, they're quite capable of dealing with it, and they might get cut out every so often, but on the law of averages, top defenders like that can deal with it.
I think a prime example of that as well, I don't know whether you've seen this, Damien, was when he was playing for the Netherlands a few weeks ago, and I think I mentioned it to you, Owen, Mbappe against Van Dijk, and he broke on him. He basically had the vast majority of the half to break into. Van Dijk comes across because they were open, because they were stretched, and it's Mbappe. So I would be shitting myself. Literally, as cool as a cucumber, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that's what you need. Unfortunately, that's just unfortunately for me, really, that's the way the game's gone. I got caught a couple of times 1v1 with a few people, and I thought, Lord above, give me strength. But that's just the way the game has gone, and I could see it as well. Towards the end there, teams don't want to really defend anymore. They just want to attack and score goals. And Spurs, I think now playing 2 defensive midfield players, where if one of the full-backs does get dragged out, one of the centre-backs does get dragged out wide, one of the number 4s just slots into the centre-back and you have your shape back straight away. Whereas Liverpool don't do that. They just leave the centre-backs to get on with it. And I think that's why they were susceptible to goals an awful lot last year. I know centre-backs got an awful lot of criticism, Lovren and Klavan and Matip and people like that. But I tell you what, there's only a handful of defenders can play in that system in the world, are mobile enough and quick enough and young enough. That's the other thing, you have to be young. When you look at the stats after games, centre-backs normally cover about 9 kilometres. Those Liverpool centre-backs cover probably 11 or 12k in a game. Yeah, they are just running so much.
I agree, and it's something that maybe people don't actually look at, the way the team is set up and how much protection maybe your centre-half, your centre midfielder can get. A full-back playing a conservative manner, you obviously can look very, very good. If you flick it across towards Manchester United and the way that their centre-half issue is at the moment, and the latest one, Jose Mourinho's coming out and he's saying basically he'd love to have Chiellini, he'd love to have Bonucci. I think he tried to get Bonucci in the summer, he tried to get Boateng, tried to get Alderweireld, tried to get everybody, didn't he? So if you're a centre half, firstly, never mind the way they're playing, what way does that make you feel? Because it certainly wouldn't sit well with me. Your manager constantly going out. How is your confidence supposed to be anywhere near what it can be when your manager's coming out and chipping away like that?
Yeah. I mean, look, Jose's kind of going into survival mode for himself at the moment now, because he was one that would never do stuff like that. He was always a player's manager who protected players to the hilt and took the spotlight off them as best he could. But I think Jose knows it, probably a little bit worried for himself, and he's probably thinking, hang on a minute, I need to start getting the spotlight away from me now, because he's not as comfortable as what he has been in the past at other clubs. But as a centre-half, if your manager's coming out saying that publicly, of course it takes the bounce out of your step. Look at how much energy those Liverpool players have, and you look how affectionate Klopp is with them openly. He's very, very, very affectionate with them, and as a player, that does make you feel good. On the flip side, when you have Mourinho asking to sign other players, well, that definitely will take the bounce out of your step,
It's difficult, isn't it? And would you have sympathy for those centre-halves in terms even the way that the team is set up, the way they are a little bit exposed, and obviously Matic sits in front, but you're never quite knowing, are you, what way he's going to sit up week to week, whether it's a 4-3-3 or what's happening in front, what fullbacks are playing with you?
I just think that whole United setup is just kind of, lagging at the minute. I look at the centre halves that look down, the midfield players look down, the attacking players look down. United signed a couple of players that were probably just slightly past their best, and they're getting them on the way down. When you run through that United squad there, I look at it and I just see a squad full of squad players, if you know what I mean. I'll explain insofar as when Man United of old played, Ferguson always had 5 or 6 squad players, that when he needed to give the big hitters a rest, he'd bring in 1 or 2 when they were playing Palace, Watford, West Brom, and they could carry them through. But he knew he had 15 top level players. You look at it now, United just seem to have 15 kind of stocking fillers, really, if you know what I mean. Just kind of cobbled together. There's no real superstar in that. If there is a superstar, he's on the downward trend at the minute, and he can't really raise his game again to lift the club or put the club on its back like so many great players that United did for years. A lot of them, they don't look like big personalities. They don't look like they've got real, character about them. So it's difficult to watch, and I feel sorry for Jose because he kind of is a victim, and he hasn't helped himself because he's had a couple of transfer windows, but United got desperate there and threw a lot of money when it's transfer windows without a plan, without an end game, without a long-term strategy, and they just kind of threw money at a problem, and now they're just left with a patchwork of players that don't really fit together, don't really mold together. Nobody really knows what shape they play, what's their best shape. So I do feel sorry for Jose, but I think he'll be under pressure.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summation of it, because I think it's quite en vogue to actually just hop on the bandwagon and blast Jose Mourinho, particularly after what he said after the Juventus games, saying that, Juventus needed bits and pieces here, and they went and they signed them, and people are like, oh, give me a break, cry me a river, Jose, all the money you've got to spend. And I think Jonathan Wilson in The Guardian put it best when he said he's got expensive pieces here and there, and I think that agrees exactly with what you're saying there. This is basically a patchwork of a squad. Yeah,
it is. I mean, if you ask Jose for his honest thoughts, I'd say he'd get rid of 15 of his squad right now. Right. But Juventus have obviously had a transfer strategy. Liverpool have had, the good Liverpool are, listen, they've had 5 or 6 years. Klopp's been there 3 years building for this squad. So it took him 3 years to get to this point now. Jose had to undo a whole load of work from Van Gaal and from Moyes. I don't really want to blame them at all. I'm not really sure, because did they have complete control of that transfer window, or were other people just signing names, or were agents involved with directors of football and owners and just shoving players in? So you don't really know, but I'd say there's at least 12, 15 there that Jose would let go, really, now, but you can't, because they're now of no real value, because everyone sees they're either past their best or they're not as good as everyone thought they were. They're on massive contracts, long-term contracts, so United can't shift them, so they can't free up the budget. So I think United fans are going to have to suffer, really. And I think when you look at Jose's record, with all that in mind, he's won the Europa League, he's got him back in the Champions League. I think he has done a fantastic job. I think he really has. I think he's a top manager. But he just needs to undo an awful lot of, or unravel an awful lot of the bad policies that United have had over that since Ferguson left in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. But it's difficult to unravel it because, people have long-term contracts and you're not shifting them, unfortunately.
Damien, I want to ask you about your former club, Crystal Palace. I'm surprised to see them where they are, struggling for goals, huge reliance on Wilfried Zaha, who's maybe been slightly off in the last few weeks. Maybe I think they've only scored 5 goals in the Premier League, 9 games this season. Are you surprised to see them where they are?
I am, really, yeah, very, very surprised. you know, it's unfair for people to criticise Wilfred, because I mean, you know, people I think have figured out now that if you can stop Wilfred, there's nothing else to come. You know, you don't have another option really. Now they've been playing some okay football, but you know, they've been making some critical mistakes at critical times, and they've just found out now that you don't have another option. Signing people like Ayew as well, you know, you'd wonder, like, that was just kind of we need a centre forward, stick one in there. The other boy, Alexander Soroff, you know, came from Denmark. You know, Christian's obviously not been in the best of form, and now he's out injured. So, you know, they don't have a centre forward. They don't have another option to Wilf. I think it'll be a long season for them, but on the plus side, they do have Roy Hodgson, who I think is a fantastic manager. I think he will keep them up. But I think after last year, everyone was expecting them to kick on, you know, to go on an extra, maybe start challenging the top 10, maybe have a cup run in one of the cups. That's what we were looking for, but it looks like it's going to be the same old relegation battle, and probably pull a rabbit out of the hat and stay up again at the end of the year.
Before we let you go, I've got to ask you about the cup final in 10, 11 days, isn't it now?
Yeah.
How's the mood in the camp? I suppose disappointment, obviously, with the league campaign, that you couldn't kind of keep it going and make more of a fist of it, but fully focused on the cup final? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, look, you know, Dundalk, I think, have finished with a record points total. You know, we had a iffy spell there where we lost 2 and drew 1. So Dundalk obviously just kicked on and opened up a gap. We couldn't quite catch them, but we have a chance now to get one over them in a one-off game in a cup final at the Aviva. The mood is really, really good. Obviously the lads will be lifting and ready to go for that game on Sunday week, and hopefully we can get it done.
Good stuff. I shall be there having a couple of shandies. Thanks for joining us. Good luck, pal.
Cheers, Keith. Thanks, man.
See you, buddy.